Lawrence Anini wasn't just a thief, he was a man who rewrote the rules of crime in Nigeria. By mid-1986, robbing banks wasn't enough for him. He took the fight directly to the police, turning them from hunters into prey. How did it come to this? And how did his actions leave the entire nation in shock? Let's find out. By the middle of 1986, Anini had grown restless. For years, his life had been a whirlwind of robberies and narrow escapes, but now he wanted more. The police were hot on his trail, and he decided to send a clear, violent message: I am untouchable. It all began with minor clashes. Imagine this: a bustling street in the heart of Benin City. A police officer spots a suspicious vehicle parked outside a shop. He approaches cautiously, his hand resting on his holstered gun. But before he can act, the doors of the car burst open, and men leap out, armed and ready. Within seconds, shots are fired, and the officer barely manages to escape with his life. This wasn't an isolated incident. Over the next few weeks, Anini's gang began targeting any officer who dared to cross their path. What started as a few scuffles quickly spiraled into a full-blown war. The gang's attacks were deliberate and merciless. One of the most chilling events happened on a quiet night in June 1986. A police patrol car was driving down a deserted road. Inside were three officers, tired but alert, as they made their rounds. Suddenly, their headlights caught a figure standing in the middle of the road. "Stop the car," one of the officers said, his voice tense. As the car slowed, more figures emerged from the shadows. It was an ambush. Anini and his gang opened fire, their bullets tearing through the night. The officers barely had time to react. One dove into the nearby bushes, his heart pounding as gunfire echoed around him. Another officer, not so lucky, was hit and slumped in his seat. When the shooting stopped, the gang disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind a scene of chaos and bloodshed. The patrol car was riddled with bullet holes, a grim symbol of Anini's growing audacity. Word of the attack spread like wildfire. Newspapers carried bold headlines: Anini declares war on the police. Radio stations buzzed with news of the ambush, and the public was gripped by fear and fascination. For some, Anini's actions turned him into a legend, a man who dared to stand up to a corrupt police force. For others, he was a terrifying figure, a criminal who had crossed every line. The police, however, were in disarray. Meetings were held behind closed doors, and the Inspector General himself demanded answers. "How can a single man and his gang humiliate us like this?" he thundered during a heated meeting. But the truth was, Anini wasn't just a criminal, he was a mastermind. His gang operated with military precision, using informants to stay ahead of the police. He had spies in the markets, at bus stops, and even within police stations. Whenever the police planned a raid, Anini knew about it long before they arrived. In one instance, officers were dispatched to raid a suspected hideout. They stormed the building, guns drawn, only to find it completely empty. Anini had been tipped off and had vanished hours earlier. Frustrated and humiliated, the police were left chasing shadows. Anini's boldness didn't just shake the police, it captivated the public. In local bars and marketplaces, people whispered about his exploits. One man, sitting in a crowded bar, shook his head and said, "This man is not afraid of anyone. He's fighting the police like they're his rivals." Another chimed in, "It's like he knows every move they make. How can they catch him if he's always one step ahead?" The situation reached a boiling point when another ambush occurred. This time, Anini's gang intercepted a convoy carrying high-ranking officers. The attack was swift and brutal, leaving several officers wounded and others scrambling for cover. This was no longer just a game of cat and mouse. Anini was sending a message loud and clear: "I am untouchable, and I fear no one." Now tell me, what do you think of Anini's actions? Was he just fearless, or was he reckless and overconfident? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends. Your support keeps these stories alive. The police were losing control, and Anini was becoming bolder by the day. But behind the scenes, the government was preparing to intervene. In the next episode, we'll see how a powerful new force stepped in to take on the law. Don't miss it.